Wilson Jones graduated from UNT in 1985 with a Bachelor of Business Administration degree. A North Texas native, Wilson worked in several sales and management positions before joining Oshkosh in 2005. He worked in leadership roles with several of the company's different segments before being appointed President and Chief Executive Officer in January 2016. Oshkosh has 147 facilities across 22 countries, employs more than 15,000 team members, and holds more than 850 active patented technologies. Known worldwide for its dedication to diversity and ethics, Oshkosh has been named one of the world's most ethical companies by Ethisphere for 5 consecutive years, was named one of the Wall Street Journal's top 250 best managed companies, and was included in Newsweek's list of America's most responsible companies. In addition to his work with Oshkosh, Wilson serves on the board of directors for several organizations, including the Green Bay Packers, the Boys and Girls Club, and Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce. Wilson, thank you for being here. And Casey, take it away.
Thank you so much, Claudia. And again, Wilson, thank you so much for joining us and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Casey. And thank you, Claudia, for that nice introduction.
Well, we were just talking before we started broadcasting live, we were talking about the weather, and I think it's always interesting to hear what it's like where you're at. So tell the world how things are feeling up in Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
Well, we're creeping up to 50 today, but we don't complain about 50 when the sun's shining. As we know, coming November, December, January, we don't get much above 15 or 20 here, and we don't see the sun a lot. So we're enjoying that, a nice fall day today.
Well, that is perfect because I know that you're going to show off some really cool vehicles here in just a minute. Before we get started, though, why don't you give us a little bit more information about Oshkosh so that people will forget the baby clothing line and start remembering the Oshkosh?
That's always my first goal, Casey, is to make sure everyone understands we do not make the little blue baby overalls. That's the other guys. This is a really a neat company, and I say that with all sincerity. We have 4 business segments, and I'll kind of run through those as we see some of their products today. Last year we were $8 billion revenue. We're Fortune 500 here in Little Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I think the thing that we've leveraged so well as a company is this integrated approach. You're going to see today a lot of tires, wheels, axles. So procurement scale is something we share across all 4 of these big segments. We share innovation, and I'll talk about some of that when you see some of the products. And then we share operational footprint to gain competitive advantages in regions around the world. So it's really when you see 4 big businesses like this, a lot of people think it's a holding company, and we're not. We're an operating company. And so you'll hear me say a few times today, we like to consider ourselves the dirty rag in your pocket company that gets up every day and serves the everyday hero. And what we mean about that is our purpose is to make a difference in the lives of others. And you're going to see that in our products today. Critical work going on around the world. The warfighter, the firefighter, the technician working at 185 feet in the air and staying safe. And then building cities with concrete mixers and keeping those cities clean with refuse collection vehicles, just to name a few of our products. They do a lot of serious work every day for great people that are getting up to make a difference in the world. We don't stop there by making a difference in our customers' life. It really starts with our people. And if you back up to about 2015, 2016, we had a leadership transition going on, and we were a performing culture. Company had done well over the years, but we knew we were missing a component of being a healthier performing company. And so we set out on a journey and really did a lot of thoughtful investigation. We looked at a lot of macro data. There's some studies out there that the Mayo Clinic did. It talked about how your supervisor can have more influence over your health than your general practitioner. And then we looked at some statistics where 7 out of 8 people go home feeling like the company doesn't care about them or listen to them. We saw some where stress was created even on a higher level on a Monday morning, creating more heart attacks. And so we started sharing this with leadership to make sure they understand the awesome responsibility of leadership and that we can't do that to our people. We needed to have an environment where people could enjoy what they do. And so we studied further, and Gallup had a survey out there, over 150 countries, a very wide survey, trying to figure out what was the #1 determinant of happiness. And what they learned, it's meaningful work with people who care. And you're going to see in our products, we had the meaningful work, but we had to work on the caring side. And so we set out on a journey. We didn't just tell 15,000 people, this is what we're going to do to have a good culture. We asked them, you know, just like when we design a new product, we sit down with our customers, get the voice of the customer, and work hard to create a product that fits the needs of our customer. Well, this culture is the 15,000's culture. It's not just my culture. So we really listened through engagement surveys, listening sessions, listening with empathy for understanding. And what came back was 3 focus areas: engage us, develop us, and connect us. And so we can unpack some of that maybe in the Q&A if you want to, Casey, but I can tell you focusing on those 3 areas, the first engagement survey in 15 was terrible. In 18 months, our team convinced me to do another one, and I was worried, but we improved double digits in 18 months. So it showed us that our teams wanted that. They wanted to be engaged. They wanted to be developed. They wanted to sit at the table and have a voice at the table. And so if you look at our financial performance, and I don't like bragging about our financial performance, but over the last 4 years, pre-COVID, we've had a compound annual growth rate on earnings of over 38% in markets that are growing 3 and 4%. So when people say what's the secret? And the secret is we focus on our greatest asset. It's our people, and drive those strategies. Our first strategy in every strategy deck is people. It's a people strategy. We always had this plan for every part, multi-generational product plans and technology plans. And we have all that today, but it starts with a plan for every person. Every team member has a personal development plan here, both personal and professionally, because we really believe the more successful we can help our people in life, the wildly successful they're going to be here in our business. So we want people to come in every day and enjoy what they do and leave feeling at least as good or maybe better than they did when they got here. So I could talk forever about culture. It's something that's a big priority for me. I spend a lot of time on it because, again, I think the better we take care of our people, the better they're going to take care of the customers, which allows us to take care of those shareholders. We are publicly traded. And then we can turn and really get involved and take care of our communities. And we pay volunteer hours. We want our people out in the community. We're in most of the areas where we have facilities, we are the big employer. So we take on that responsibility of being that good corporate neighbor. So I'm going to slow down here a little bit and get off my soapbox of culture, but it's so important. And I think, unfortunately, today we've got a lot of people that, a lot of companies that are missing the boat. And our millennials, our younger friends, it's not going to be sustainable if you don't take care of your people. So where we are today, we're at our test track, test and development. This is where we have a lot of fun. This is the second most fun thing I get to do is come out here and play around on this track. When I'm having a bad day, 10 minutes out here fixes everything. But this track simulates Aberdeen Proving Grounds. We wanted to be able to test the way our military customers test the products. Now, we can't show you all this test tracks. There's some classified stuff. We are going to get into some James Bond 007 stuff today with you. But some of the side slopes, the grades, the steps, the pyramid bumps, embedded rock course, Afghan road, tilt table, some of that we just can't show you. But what we will be able to show you is some pretty good mogul work going on here with our new program on the Humvee replacement. We have about 1,000 demos here a year. I'm in the viewing room where we would have military personnel come and look out these windows and watch vehicles being moved around and demoed for them. Around 6,000 visitors or so in this T&D area every year. So it's a big tool for us, one that we use. And we don't just use it, I mentioned this integrated approach. We don't just use it for our defense products. You'll see other products here from all 4 segments that use this test facility. So I think I'm going to comment how we do integrate a lot of our technology with some of these products. But if it's okay with you, Casey and Claudia, I'll start this rodeo today. Everybody's got your dirty rag in your pocket?
You bet. Let's go. Let's do this.
All right. Well, the first products we're going to look at, this is our biggest segment. We call it the access segment. If you drive around the North Texas campus, you'll see a lot of these, a lot of action and go mean green. It's fun to see all the good stuff going on. I was back recently in Denton and saw just a tremendous amount of construction going on, showing that we got great progress with our university. But these are the cream and orange lifts that you'll see. That's a scissor lift going up there. Behind it is a aerial work platform. And so, like I said, this is our biggest segment. When we purchased them in 2006, And then we were 3 billion then, they were 3 billion. So we doubled our company in 2006 when we made this acquisition. They have facilities in China, all over Europe, and then all over the US. They are our big 24/7 company, and just do a wonderful job for us. So now when you see the cream and orange, you'll remember that is an Oshkosh product. It's a JLG brand. Most of these that you see here are built in Pennsylvania area.
Very neat. So Wilson, how tall does the scissor lift get?
The scissor lift can go up, in some cases 70+ feet, depending on the heavy duty scissor. But the aero work platform, the one you see on the right, that's the one that we build all the way up to 185 feet. And I can tell you, before we introduced it at the big construction show, I had committed to going up in it. And we waited till the very last day because we couldn't get good weather. So I went up in it. It was about 10 degrees in McConnellsburg, Pennsylvania. And I can tell you 185 feet at that temperature, I was ready to come down. That was enough for me. So the next segment I'm going to jump into here is our fire and emergency segment. They're really housed just up the road here, Appleton and Neenah area. What you're seeing here is the big snow removal product. Not a lot of these run around Texas, but there are some at DFW Airport. This snow blower will throw 5,000 tons of snow an hour. This is a big boy. So what you would see here is 4 or 5 of these going down the line, the O'Hare runway, side by side in what they call a conga line, all throwing that snow. They can clear a runway in a matter of heavy snow runway. So that's a blower there that you're seeing, but we also build a plow and a broom. So there's 3 different types of attachments that we offer in this, what we call H-series tractor. Wow. The airport business unit too, that's where I started in 2005. I was running the airport business. So the product you see coming into play now is our Striker. This is the thing you do not want to see rolling at your airplane. That's a bad thing. You know, a airplane fuel fire is a lot different than a normal municipal type fire. But this is an 8x8. It carries 4,500 gallons of water. That device you see at the top is called a snozzle. It can elevate, and it's got a penetrating nozzle that will go into a fuselage and spray like different types of agents, maybe a dry chem, compressed air foam, to try to put out a nasty jet fuel fire. We make these all the way down in 4x4s or 6x6. We've sold this in over 100 countries around the world. There are a lot of airports being built, and to get the safety ratings they need, they have to have products like this. So this has been a great global product for us. And here's the final product of our fire and emergency. This is the Ascendant Aerial. Denton, Texas has a ton of Pierce fire trucks. Large market share for us in Pierce fire trucks, the world's largest fire apparatus manufacturer. And they're built in Appleton, Wisconsin, and Bradenton, Florida. And I'll just say this, there's 2 mean green eagles in our company, me and the leader of our Bradenton, Florida plant, Rachel Forsyth. So we have a couple of go mean greens in our company. But this product is really neat. We use defense material science experts that work on armor technology to develop a high tensile steel ladder. This ladder goes 107 feet in the air. It's the only one in the industry that can do this. Normally, when you go above 75 feet, you got to go to a tandem rear axle, which you lose your maneuverability. So here's where you can see 2 companies working together that wouldn't normally work together in normal situations, but because we do work with an integrated approach, this product came to market very quick, and it's got great IP, patent protected, and again, nobody else can touch it in the industry. It's really been a game changer for our friends at Pierce. So now we move to our commercial segment. We're going to talk a little trash, ladies. This is a refuse collection vehicle truck. This is built over in McNeilus brand, built over in Dodge Center, Minnesota. And this is the front loader. This is what you'd see in a commercial application, picking up a dumpster. But we build a side loader. That's what you'd see in your neighborhoods. It comes out with an arm and picks the can up and dumps inside. And then we also sell rear loaders. This is a big part of what we talk about, helping keep cities clean. McNeilus has tremendous market share with refuse collection vehicles. And another nice thing about what we're doing here is environmentally focused. Majority of the products that they sell at McNeilus in this refuse collection vehicle are alternative fuel. They're compressed natural gas. So we're doing all we can to help the environment with our fuel systems. The other product in our commercial segment is concrete mixers. This is a front discharge. This is really a cool product because you can see the operator is in complete control of the chute. You see a lot of these up here pouring basements. You know, they've got to get in a tight space. They can drive right up on it. And again, one operator in the cab. Whereas the other concrete mixer that we build is a rear discharge. So it requires someone to help back, and you're moving a manual chute back there. So this has been a great product for us. And we actually built this one right here in Oshkosh for our commercial segment.
This is too neat. I cannot believe
So
this.
now we're getting to our fourth and final segment, defense. And a lot of people think defense is our biggest business. It's our second largest business next to JLG. But we like to say they're not the prettiest vehicles, but they are the toughest and the ones you want to be in if you're in a fight. But you might remember, if you've got any Batman fans out here, this was the one in Batman Dark Knight Rises. We participate, I think Claudia mentioned, in some movie memorabilia. We do some product placement with our products. And for you Transformers fans, this was in Transformer 4. This was the Hound. Remember, John Goodman's voice was in this. This is my favorite. We put this in a lot of parades and stuff, but that's an FMTV. Not a pretty truck, but a truck you'd be safe in. But we're gonna have a little parade here now. This is our HET, Heavy Equipment Transport. This is what you would see with a trailer pulling a big Abrams tank, an M1, A1. The main battle tanks of our military are moved around by these big heavy equipment transports. This next product, again, is another good integrated story for us. It's a P-19 aircraft rescue firefighting truck. This is what you would see the Air Force, Ford deploy into to build an airbase up. Pierce Fire Trucks work closely with these guys to co-develop this and get it to market very quick for our military. This is the HEMTT, the Heavy Expanded Mobile Tactical Truck. This truck is, if you think back to Desert Storm, General Schwarzkopf in his daily press briefings was talking about the new Camel, or the new ship of the desert. It was this product here because it kept logistics, housing, food, ammunition. It stayed right with the wave going across the desert of Iraq. And this is a neat product. We've had the FMTV contract for 12 years, and like a normal military program, it goes to a next variant. And so we took the FMT that you saw, FMTV the Hound, and we added armor and suspension. Suspension's been kind of our secret sauce here in our company. We share suspensions across all these products. It's really been something good for us. There's a great story here. This is an MRAP, MATV, mine resistant, ambush protected. When you look at the back to Desert Storm, Afghanistan and Iraq, unfortunately the Humvee was just not providing good protection for our soldiers and Marines. IED blast, had a flat bottom, didn't have a suspension to get off road. So this urgent need contract came up. If you remember in the recession, we'd bought JLG in 2006 for $3 billion. 2007, they did 3, 2008, they did $1 billion. So we had a wake of destruction there, had bank covenants coming at us, really tested one of our core values here in perseverance. This contract was coming up, and there was a bunch of us. I was a young guy back then. We convinced the team to go after this in a time where we really didn't have the money to invest. But we got it. 9,000 trucks in a year. We had to build a third of. We didn't have capacity here in Oshkosh, so we built a third of them at JLG. I was president of JLG when we did that. And you talk about unifying a big company at JLG that thought maybe they should have probably bought Oshkosh. It really synchronized us and integrated those two companies together in a year where they lost money in their core business. They bonused off of the good work that they were doing for our defense team. We had Secretary of Defense Gates came here twice talking about it was the fastest military truck buildup in U.S. history. So really a neat thing to share with our team members, and again, a unifying thing across our company. The next project we went after was called the JLTV, Joint Light Tactical Vehicle. You might have heard it called the Humvee Replacement Program. And about a 10-year development program. And one of the things we wanted to do is really test our designs. So we ran the Baja race with this product right here. And we're very successful in the Baja race. We learned a lot. We matured our design running across the Baja Desert for 1,000 miles. And we really believe all that learning and maturing that we went through really helped us become successful in winning the JLTV, which right now we built about 15,000 of those so far. The Army and Marines they're talking about over 55,000. And really what's cool is we're selling a lot of them now into the international community, our allies in Europe. So a real game changer, a big winner for us. And I think what you're going to see now is a few of the JLTVs showing off a little bit. So we'll pick things up a little bit here. When you see this truck, these are 4-foot moguls. You'll see 20 inches of wheel travel, but look at the windows and the mirrors. A big issue for our soldiers and Marines is fatigue. So you think about an Afghan road or roads like this, it beats them up in a Humvee that didn't have a suspension. So now they have a suspension that when they do get there, if they do need to engage in something, they're not dizzy, they're not sick at their stomach, they can engage. More importantly, they're safe. This has the armor protection of a light tank. And you can see the mobility. The cool thing about this, it doesn't need a road. And that's where the bad things happen in the theater is on the road. It'll ford 5 feet of water, so it'll really go anywhere in the world. And again, we talk about the maneuverability of Baja Racer, and you can see we ran the Baja race, so we can call that. But just a really neat product. It's been great for us. I think it's one that we should be building for a very long time. So I think, Casey,
Yes, sir.
We'll stop the rodeo. I'm sure these guys are going to want to keep playing out here a little while. Hopefully they don't distract us too much, but we'll turn it back to you for the next part of the program.
Yeah, sure. This is so fascinating because these are everyday things. Well, some of them are everyday things that we see and we never seem to think about. But after viewing this and seeing all the things that go into making it safe for our people and protecting them, and just, man, this is really, really fascinating. And I'll notice these everywhere now. This is neat. So we did have a couple of questions roll in while you were talking about these different vehicles.
I have to interrupt you for just a second.
Oh boy.
The trucks they're bowing to you a little bit here.
Everybody give them a round of applause, please.
They're show offs, but they're kneeling now in the front just to show the respect for our University of North Texas.
That's right. I love that. That's so great. So I have to ask, what is your favorite vehicle to go out on the test track and drive and play around in?
So that's a real dangerous question because I have 15,000 people out there that all want me to pick their product lines. But I tell you, the JLTV, it's just so capable. It's the most capable vehicle we've ever built from a military standpoint. And literally getting in that, driving around a little bit, if you are having a rougher day, it makes all that go away. So I have to kind of lean toward that one, but growing up in the fire industry, I love our fire trucks, and then working at JLG and commercial, I love all those products too. So I have to be neutral for most of that, but it's hard. I think a lot of those team members around the world would say JLTV is hard to compete with. It was the coolest thing made in Wisconsin 2 years ago, and won the state competition there. So it is cool.
That is really fun. And you played it very well right there. We can tell you're a family man. You don't pick a favorite child. Everyone gets equal love. So well done, sir. Well done. So let's see here. Someone's asking if you have a brand in West Africa, and I think they were referring to the scissor lift and the platform lift as well. Do you have a JLG, I guess, warehouse there or something?
No, we have a partner in South Africa that covers parts of Africa, but it's spotty. It's not it's a market that we have as an emerging market for us. But today, from an international standpoint, we have a large facility in China where we build scissor lifts for the Chinese market and the rest of Asia. And then we build products in 2 or 3 areas in Europe that we would export into Africa. But it hasn't been there's still a lot of infrastructure needs in Africa. I think about China 10 years ago. They were using bamboo scaffolding. We worked to get productivity and safety measures put in place. And so now we're seeing adoption of our products there. I'd say Africa's still probably 10 years away of getting good adoption, but there are some of our products going in there.
Excellent. Well, that's really neat to hear. There are a lot of questions coming in about how you guys are dealing with the COVID situation and how you guys are staying productive, and has it slowed down productivity? What are things like right now for you?
Yeah, it's we have the big facility in China. So back in January, we started working, learning a lot. They were first in, as everyone knows, and we took a lot of what we were learning. And we started putting that into our European facilities ahead because we knew, I think we were ahead of it, knowing that it was going to come. And we felt like that we would be dealing with it in the U.S. too. So we started at that point working with U.S. protocols. And so we changed up some of the ergonomics on our production line. We spaced things out. we are essential. We had letters from Department of Defense, from fire departments requesting that we continue to build their products. They needed those products. And so our team stepped up and maintained, good social distancing, a lot of sanitizing. We were very flexible with work schedules, knowing that we have childcare issues and things like that. And so we've gone through it. We just finished our fiscal year, and we'll announce our financial results in a few weeks. But the point being is our defense team never stopped. They kept right on building. Our fire team never stopped. Refuse collection never stopped. JLG slowed a little bit just because construction, they didn't have orders. So we had to take some weeks out of production there. But for the most part, our teams have just stayed focused and making sure we're taking good care of our people and really staying close and working with our supply chain. Obviously, the suppliers are so key to us. And I think because of the good relationships that we've built over the years, it enabled all of our facilities to really stay open and continue building.
That's wonderful. And it just goes to show how much you really do care about your people, and the fact that you were ahead of the curve. You were already, attacking this and handling it and doing what's best for your employees. And I know that they have to be very, very grateful for that as well. And I want to get to the culture of Oshkosh and what you've done there in just a second. We've got a couple of really great questions that I don't want to glaze over just yet. Okay. One of them being, what is the best part of your job, and what's a typical work day in your industry and your position level? What does that look like?
Oh, wow. I don't know if you want to know that. No, I've been blessed. We got a great team. And so, what I try to balance my schedule, it's hard to do it on a daily basis, but if you looked at my calendar, like for a month, I spend about 30% of my time on the current portfolio, our annual plan. How are we doing there? Everything's still relevant. Do we need to be, coaching and directing and working with the segment leaders on anything to change in that? About 30%, I talk about the next 5 to 10 years. And, I think organizations, you've got to, with the mega trends, with the pace of change today, you've just got to stay focused on that 5 and 10 year window and what are we going to need to change? What's not going to be relevant or sustainable out there? And then the other 30%, I call it, it's kind of like, this is part of it. I call it selling the company. And please don't run around and tell anybody I'm selling this company, but it's doing the organizational brand development. It's meeting with investors, doing investor relations analyst conference. It's out in the community, doing things with supporting our community, the city, the county, things like that. It's my board work, working with our board of directors. And then I call that other 10% just that, oh my gosh, how are we got to work on this now, the things that aren't in our control, but we've got to deal with them. So that's how I try to balance my time. In an industrial company like this, a CEO, it's 24/7, like, when I get home at night, well, China's running, and Europe will be running in 5 hours. So you don't ever really completely turn things off, but, by developing and really coaching and driving a good culture with a great foundation, people can handle those things that do come up. They're more than capable, and we've built so much trust and respect in the organization that I don't stay up at night worrying about what our people might not be doing.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And it's so important to find that work-life balance and walk the walk. You can talk the talk all day long, but to see that you're trying to walk the walk and keep a balance is so, so important. So I guess let's go ahead and dig into this culture just a little bit, because I tell you what, I bet everybody that's watching this right now is thinking, man, what are they hiring? Where can I go work? I want to be a part of Oshkosh, because there's such a need for a culture shift, and not just in the United States, but globally. So when you got into the role that you're in now, and you knew that you had the ability to make some changes, what were some of the biggest obstacles you had to overcome and some of the biggest challenges you faced? And how did you stay motivated? Because I'm sure there had to be some trials and tribulations there.
Yeah, well, the one thing that if you're around me, you'd find out I'm hard-headed and stubborn. So I wasn't going to go away on this issue. But, first we had to get our leadership team modeling the right behaviors. To your point, you can talk the talk, but if you don't walk the walk. And so I mentioned we were a performing culture, but but it was more of an individual contributor, what's your legacy type environment, to the point where there was some competition instead of collaboration. And so I started meeting with our leaders and saying, you know, that's not going to work going forward. We've got to get this group together and model the right things, genuine caring leadership, so we can filter this down and get all the rest of the leaders to follow this. And I had a couple of leaders that I gave them all the benefit of the doubt because they'd never had that type of behavior model for them. And so we agreed that trust and respect was our first behavior to model. Second, we felt like if we were trusting and respecting one another, we could be more collaborative. And if we were being collaborative and trusting and respecting, we could gain alignment. Unfortunately, we had a lot of this passive aggressive behavior going on before, where people will nod in meetings and they get back to their areas and do this. And then the fourth behavior that I think our team would tell you was probably the most important was have fun. We'd never really shown our teams that it was okay to have fun. And some of us, you know, when I was a segment leader, we did a lot of this in the segment, but we hadn't done it from an enterprise-wide. So it wasn't like we were starting from scratch. There were ambassadors for People First that were already out there from our work at Pierce while I was there, and then at JLG when we were there. So we started modeling those behaviors, and again, I had to make a couple of changes with some leaders, but then, you know, we brought in leaders behind them that got it, that knew that we would be better if we took better care of our people. So I think the hard part was we were so initiative driven that when I came out and said, you know, one of our core values is going to be to enable a people first culture, I literally had people saying, okay, well, what 3 initiatives are those for me? What do I need to do? And I refused to define it. I frustrated a lot of people because I wanted it to be their definition. You know, what does it mean to you? You know, for some people, it's just the ability to have more frequent, meaningful conversations. For others, it's the ability to say, I want to share my idea with some other segments. You know, so it means different things. So I'll let everyone else define it. And I think by doing that, I showed them that this wasn't going to be a top-down initiative company going forward. We're a lot smarter when we have 15,000 brains all working together to drive strategies from the ground up. And that's why I mentioned earlier that it starts with the people strategy. If we don't have a people strategy, you can have the best product strategy, operation strategy, but it's not going to execute near as well as if you have a good people strategy in front of it. So I think the biggest obstacle was really getting people to understand that I wasn't going to back office. And I say me, I have a great group of leaders here, and they were right with me. It wasn't like a lot of pushback, but we were tested early. We had an issue coming where we were building a lot of those MRAPs. Remember I told you we built those for the international community too. Well, that was slowing down. And so we had a small break in production in defense where we had about 100 excess production team members. Now I can tell you 10 years ago, we would have just done a RIF. We'd have had a reduction in force those 100, and we'd wait till business come back. But we promised our teams that was going to be the last thing that we do. So what we did is we went to our union friends and we showed that 88 team members that were within a year of retirement. So we offered to bridge them to retirement so they didn't lose those jobs. We didn't reduce anybody. And so when we picked back up with full rate production with the JLTV, the Humvee replacement, we'd bring all those jobs back, which we have. Same thing with JLG. They slowed down and had 53 engineers that they didn't need. And you know, you let your engineers go, you don't get them back. And so defense at the time was picking up and needed more engineering for JLTV. So we bridged those engineers out in Hagerstown, Maryland, at JLG to do work for defense here in Oshkosh. And because of the same system, they could work together, and we kept those engineers employed. So the naysayers were watching those kinds of things and saying, okay, hotshot, what are you going to do now? And I think our team reacted well and proved that not only do we talk the talk, but we walk it too.
I love it. And in the intro, you mentioned that you really listened to your employees and you listened with empathy. And the fact that you took the time to get their buy-in and have them believe in this whole ethics culture change that you are starting to create is truly phenomenal. So with 15,000 employees, like, how do you listen? And what are some of the biggest takeaways that you got from listening to your employees?
Well, the point is, if you listen with empathy, you'll understand, you know, where they're coming from. And the themes were consistent. So it really confirmed, the engage, develop, and connect. So the next important step was, okay, what do you want more of on the engagement side? What does that mean? Help us define that. And so, engage, develop is probably going to talk a little bit more about, in that we'd never really done leadership training. And here we are telling leaders, you got to take care of your people. Oh, okay. Well, all I know is how to drive the business and get performance. What do I do now? So we started 3 different types of leadership training, kind of a basic leadership for the new leader, kind of a mid-level leadership that's got more people in their area of influence, and then a lens of leadership for what I would call directors and vice president level. And it's been remarkable. This is part of our your Oshkosh University that we have here in our company. 500 online classes, a lot of in-person classes before COVID, and we'll get those started again. But we literally had spouses. I had a couple of notes from a couple of spouses of our team members that went through Lens of Leadership saying, I don't know what you've done to my wife or my husband, but thank you. Can I get that class too? And it really woke a lot of people up. And, unfortunately, people model behavior that's been modeled for them. And a lot of our teams just hadn't had that before. So I think the really understanding that people wanted to do better, but they didn't have the tools. And so that led us down the development path. And then the connect, they see all the work going across segments. So they wanted the opportunities not only connect with other segments, but with other people in the business. So we started employee business resource groups, which really is helping us with our diversity and inclusion focus. Got 15,000 people in the community. It's tough for all of them to connect, but you can have sub-communities all working for the greater good of the big community. So we've got an Oshkosh Women's Network. We've got a multicultural business resource group, military-friendly business resource group, young professionals. We're just now starting LGBTQ plus employee business resource group. So a lot of those activities are right out of the playbook of what they said that we needed. I wish we had more time, Casey, because it's hundreds of things that we're doing, and I can't do service to it today in our short conversation. But what we just did another engagement survey, and results were good, but it still shows us we've got other areas that we can improve in. And again, I think our teams know we're taking action, so they come back and participate in the engagement surveys with us because they get it. It's their culture. And if they don't help us, then they can't complain about it.
That's right. That's right. Man, this is really, really fascinating. And I love that you built these different communities for people to engage in within the community and find, I'm sure so many relationships and friendships have been formed even since you built these. And like you mentioned earlier, the fact that people spend more time at work than they do at home, it seems like, and that's where the happiness has to begin. So Wilson, kudos to you. You are doing a remarkable job. And we are just so proud of you and everything that you're doing. In fact, Wayne Snell, who serves on our Collin County chapter here in North Texas, he just asked have you written a book? Where can we get more Wilson Jones?
So that may be in the works someday, but I don't have one yet, but we're talking about it. Yeah.
I love it.
Casey, you said some really nice things about me, but I want to be clear. I'm one of many here. We have a great team. And again, I'm humbled and honored to work with this team every day. And as you know, it's no one person. It takes a true team to do all this. And so I just always want to make sure our team deserves the credit. I mean, I get way too much credit because they do a lot of the good stuff. I just get to talk about it a lot.
Awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, hire more North Texas graduates up there to be on your team and we'll interview them too.
All right. All right.
Giving you a hard time. All right. So we covered the book. Oh, as far as your leadership classes, did you guys build those from the ground up, or is that something that you found pre-packaged and applied to your segments?
Yeah, we went outside for those. Again, we didn't feel like we had all the correct skill sets to develop that type of curriculum. So University of Wisconsin-Madison has helped us with several of those, and then some other outside firms we work with to really develop a curriculum that fits us. We want a curriculum, but we want it customized to fit us because we like to think we're maybe a little different than others. So we found some good partners to work with there that have helped us develop a lot of different curriculums, more than just the leadership curriculum.
That's wonderful. And you know your strengths, so you're going to stick with them. So that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. So, okay. what inspired you to make this culture change when you came in and you saw how things were being run? Where do you get this internal drive to go up against a major corporation like this and find the right team to make these changes?
Well, I had experienced it. I had leaders that I worked with, years ago, mentors that, had different types of servant-led models. I wouldn't say it's exactly like what we're doing here, but I'd had a taste of it from several different leaders. I got to, I ran some companies before I came here. When I got here, running the fire and emergency segment, we put it into play there. We called it going the extra degree. And if you think about water, it's really hot at 211 degrees, but 212 degrees it changes and produce steam. Steam is power locomotion. So we started talking about going that extra degree, doing what's expected and then some. And that really was our way of continuous improvement and lean. We just didn't call it that way, but it started building a very proud culture there. And so I'd had some opportunities to see people up here are awesome. I know I'm prejudiced. Texas people are awesome too. But if you worked up here, you'd say that a lot. It reminds you a lot of our friends in Texas, and they especially embrace things that takes care of them and pushes things forward as a group. So it's funny. My wife used to ask me, "Are you sure this is the right place?" Because when I interviewed in 2005, our kids were young. They'd never seen snow. We were in the Atlanta, Georgia area. And they were smart. They brought us up here in July. And you look outside in Georgia in July and you sweat. But up here, I was telling my wife, I think we can mow the yard up here and not sweat in the summer. And so it was just a fun deal. But every office I went into had a poster that just kept drawing me. And it said, "When to hell and back is a daily commute." And I thought, wow, that gets me. And I have that poster in my office today. But it kept me here. And what also kept me here, even working with a lot of leaders that just didn't, I don't think, take the right time with people. I think I got enamored and connected with the people. My dad used to always say, you find your people, you find your passion. And I would talk about, maybe I should leave. Maybe this is not the right place. I don't know if I'm having enough influence. And my wife would always say, "Oh, you won't go." And I get mad at her, but the next morning I'd wake up and go, "No, I'm not taking that other job." So I'm glad I stayed. And I think because of that, persevering over that time, I was just determined to do everything I could to make it a better culture.
That's fantastic. And so you being a Texas boy and I'm sorry, maybe you weren't born, but you were raised in Denton, Texas, correct?
Oh, I was born in Denton. Yeah.
You were born in Denton.
I'm a Denton boy. Yeah.
I love it. So I have to ask, I mean, it seems like a no-brainer that you would end up at UNT, but so many people might have been like just dying to get out of Denton and see some other places. So I have to know, what made you choose UNT?
Well, it was kind of default, but we didn't have the resources for me to go somewhere else. Quite honestly, my test scores weren't that great. So I ended up at North Texas, and I'm glad I did. It worked out well for me. I had great friends in Denton, and then I made more friends by being on campus. And I'm glad it worked out the way it did. I wouldn't change any of that. And there were some hard lessons, and you can do the number of years. It took me a little while to get through there, but I like to think I was, making sure I was good and mature before I finished. But really, really good experience, great friends. And I've had a few of them contact me today, said they were going to heckle me online. And I told them that I'm still fairly tough. I will come over there and beat you up like we used to fight back in those days.
Well, there is a name that does keep popping up in this chat, and I'm dying to know is it Craig Van Beber?
Yeah, Craig Van Beber. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Craig's got all the questions.
We grew up kind of down the street from each other. He was a year younger than me, but it was a funny thing. And Craig's a great guy. Went to the same church together, but I lost track. When I left Denton, I've been out of Denton a long time. Lost track of a lot of those good folks. But I was at a AUSA, an Army exhibition conference in Washington, D.C., and I'm walking through, and I hear my name being called out in the Lockheed Martin booth. And I look up and it's Craig Van Bever. He works for Lockheed Martin. And so we chatted a little bit there. It was good to see him. And we were friendly, but yet I guess Craig and I were competitors too. So we have to draw that line. But yeah, I saw his name earlier too, but good Denton guy there.
That's amazing. So, it's obvious that your parents instilled some really great morals in you, but is there somebody specific that you can attribute this great personality and value system to?
Well, I don't know about great personality, but, I've had a lot of people that took time with me over the years, and I'm fortunate for that. I worked for a guy at First Baptist Church, Bill Chambly, that mentored me a lot. Christian guy. I worked for him there at the Christian Life Center. I think of Dr. Bimmerly there at North Texas that took time to visit with me at a time where I was contemplating quitting school. And there's probably 12 different people over the years. My best friend in life his name's David Riley, and he's a Denton guy, and always, been one of those guys I could lean on. A guy named Tim Sutton's the same way. I'm fortunate that even after pulling some really dumb stunts over my maturing, these friends stayed with me, or people stayed with me. My Little League baseball coach there in Denton has always stayed up with me and close to me. And I don't know, I'm blessed. I don't always understand that, but it's driven me. I may have told you guys this in the pre-call. We have about 300 interns a year in our system here in the summer. And I meet with every one of them. We have lunches, 7, 8 at a time. I think my team thinks I'm crazy, but I feel like that's a way I can give back. Maybe it's one nugget or two that might save them some of the tough time I had, or maybe keep them from doing something that might hurt their resume or their name. We have some great conversations. I let them ask questions, anything they want to ask. And I work in my dad points about, need to be calling your mom, dad on a regular basis, all those kinds of things. But I feel like that's the one way I can give back to some of the great things that have been given to me over the years.
That's really remarkable. And, to take the time to get to know those students is really, really fantastic. And you've got a very relatable story. I mean, so many of us did not have great test scores either. And I feel that on a very personal level, but to see you overcome so many obstacles and find such a remarkable success story here and do these great things, I just can't say it enough. We're super proud of everything that you're doing and continue to do. And we look forward to what the future holds for you and Oshkosh and your family. And I know we're running close on time, Claudia. It's 4:50 already. I could talk to you for hours. This is so much fun. And there's so many questions that we haven't even gotten to yet. But we've got to talk football for just a second. And this is where I may lose some friends when I say go Pack go, but I think it's really, really great. You're serving on the board up there. That has to be a tremendous amount of fun. But staying in the green football team discussion there, somebody's asking, will you be at the football game in 2025 when the Mean Green travel to Camp Randall to play the Wisconsin Badgers?
I'll be there. Yeah,
all right.
We go a lot of Badger games, so I'll be there.
There you have it. All right. That is fantastic. Okay.
We got to get our team going. I watched the game Saturday night on TV, and I kept wanting to call a few people and say, we better tape our ankles and get in there and help them. It looked like our defense was really tore up and missing a lot of players. So I do enjoy when I can. I try to watch them and usually try to get back for a game every year. It's been nice to see the program come back, and certainly hope that they can get back on the winning track.
Absolutely. We'll just keep rooting for them. That's all we can ask for. Well, yeah. Wilson, thank you so much for your time. I just, like I said, there's so much I wanted to cover with you, but there's just not enough minutes in the hour. So, Wilson, is there one last little piece of parting advice you might could offer to even a student, but also our alums that may be in a career or a job situation and they're not feeling valued or respected? What advice would you give to them?
Well, it's tough not to know the specifics of, a particular situation, but, to me, everybody matters. And so if you're having an issue and you need more conversation around it, or you feel like that, there's just issues that need to be addressed. I think you have to take that head on in a professional way, and let the area of influence, the leader, know that that's a concern, and you don't want to be the problem. You want to be part of the solution. And I think leaders in general just don't like things thrown on their desk. They like to hear about issues if they're true leaders. They like to hear about the issues, but more importantly, how can we work together to solve the issue? And I know we do so much better when we have that collaboration versus someone just saying, your company's screwed up, it'll never work that way. Well, okay, for you it won't. that's the attitude. But I think it's just that agreement to be professional. And you know what? Unfortunately, if it's not a true leader, they're just a manager where they're manipulating people for results, you probably don't want to work for them anyway. It's probably telling you that's making a decision for you to move and find the company that will appreciate you and will let you have a voice at the table.
Find your people and you find your passion. You
Yes,
said it.
Exactly.
I love that. I love that. That's sticking with me. Well, Wilson, thank you again. We can't, this has just been so much fun. And, Claudia, I guess I'm going to have to turn it over to you because it's almost 5 o'clock.
I can't believe we ran out of time. Thank you, Wilson, so much. And thank you, too, to the Oshkosh team. They did an incredible job pulling together that awesome display of Oshkosh's vehicles. That was really hard to do, and they did an amazing job. So kudos to the Oshkosh team. And of course, thank all of you for joining us today.